Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with my real quick post-fight thoughts on Macy Chiasson versus Shanna Young this past weekend. First of all, I gotta say shout out to Shanna Young, man. She actually made this a pretty tough fight. Like I said in my prediction, I felt like Macy Chiasson had the power and the strength to stop her, but Shanna Young came up in here trying to make a statement. You know, her first fight at 135. Because if you remember, like I told you a couple weeks ago, she was supposed to be on the Invicta card as a replacement for somebody else, but she got sick and had to pull out of that fight. So now she moved up and became her first fight. She became a bantamweight for her first fight in the UFC. And like I said, she came in there to make a statement, man. She gave Macy Chiasson a pretty tough fight. Now, it could have been one of two things. Like, she probably had the style to give Macy a tough fight and kind of wear Macy down and make her work harder. Or, like I always say, it could be the weight cut on Macy. You know, Macy really needs to be a featherweight, I think, man. I think that the weight cuts do affect her performances. So it could have been one of those two things going into this one, because like Macy didn't look her best. Now, she was able to do a lot of things in this fight to dominate and win, but the type of work she was doing, I don't think that's going to work against top competition, in this fight. Because first off, just going back and looking at this fight, Shanna Young, she came straight out firing some big high kicks, and she was catching Macy Chiasson, with some good side kicks as well to the head. Like, first off, she landed some big chest kicks as Macy was trying to come straight in and land some of her strikes. She was just like kicking her straight in the chest, and then she like come around the side, kick Macy in the head. And I was like, damn, like if Macy take a couple more of these, she might be getting knocked out in like the first opening seconds, because she was actually firing shots off on her back foot. Like, Shanna was piecing her up with a little left hooks and then coming back with those side kicks. Now, it wasn't until Macy like closed that distance and got into her clinch where she needs to be that where the pace kind of changed. Whenever Macy got in there and started clinching with Shanna Young, she started landing some big vicious knees to the body. Shanna was taking them, but they were kind of slowing her down. Like, one of them hit her to the chin too, but Shanna Young took it well, and she just kept coming. Macy just kept coming straight forward with those knees to the body, and that was kind of slowing her attack down. And finally, Macy got a trip and got Shanna on her back, and this is where I think Macy kind of took over. She started landing more head strikes on the ground, but to me, it was a close, fast-paced fight. Like I said, if Shanna Young could have did more work like she did in those opening seconds, I would have gave her the round. But I think Macy edged the round out because she got the takedown, and she started controlling that. She started controlling on her feet with the knees to the body. And second round, Shanna Young, she started off on the inside, landed some good strikes in there, and she's pretty nimble in those clinches. So whenever Macy was trying for the takedown, she would just kind of like roll with it, and then she would reverse it, and she actually tripped Macy, and Macy she winds up on top of Macy. But Shanna Young was kind of doing good with this, because whenever Macy was able to get back to her feet, Shanna was able to like just kind of lay on Macy's back, kind of make Macy work harder and expend energy. She was kind of like putting her weight on her, and then I think this was a good method, but at the same time, she needed to do a little bit more work on the inside. But it was really affecting Macy too, because like I said, this high altitude fight, when you start making somebody expend a lot of energy and you're not used to that high altitude, you're gonna start huffing and puffing and breathing hard. And it was kind of getting to Macy, and it was getting to Shanna as well, because whenever Macy took Shanna to the ground in those last 2.5 minutes, Shanna was looking really like she was getting tired. All she could do was kind of keep her leg up as a shield to keep Macy from coming straight in and being completely dominant. But Macy was still hitting her with little strikes to the body to take that wind out of her. So I gave Macy that second round as well. But the last round, Shanna Young, she was pretty exhausted here. She threw like one high kick. Macy caught it and just took Shanna straight down to the ground. And Shanna was pretty much on her back all of the round, just getting controlled by Macy. Like, Macy wasn't doing anything too big. She just kind of kept her head in the chest, and she was getting a lot of work in, just kind of like smothering her and just landing little strikes and controlling the ground. She tried to finish with like a rear naked choke, but in that last 10 seconds, I knew she wasn't going to get it. So at the end of the fight, Shanna, she was just able to make it out. She was able to make it out for the decision. And like I said, man, it could have been one of those two. It could have been one of those two things. Shanna Young just kind of started off fast and gave Macy a different look, or it could have been the weight. And the more and more we kind of went through the fight, I kind of started saying to myself that Macy Chiasson was kind of being affected by the weight. She really needs to be at 145, because even with her body frame, that's kind of a major weight cut for her. 10 pounds makes a big difference. Because if you go back and look at some of her past fights at featherweight, she looked strong. She would come in there and just look straight like dominant. But here, you know, lately she's kind of been looking flat, you know, and I think the more and more she keeps trying to squeeze down the bantamweight, her performances are going to look like this. They're going to look a little bit more and more flat, you know, where she's killing herself. And if somebody if somebody comes out, like let's say a top contender comes out, you know, throwing them bombs like Shanna Young was doing to the head, then Macy might wind up getting stopped next time. Like say if she fights a Juliana Pena or somebody like that, or like say if let's say if she fought somebody like who else anybody like Amanda Nunes, you know, she fought somebody like Amanda Nunes or even Sarah McMahon, and they choose to like strike, you know, if they choose to throw some heavy bombs, you know, somebody that's really strong, and then she might wind up getting stopped. So I really think she needs to be at featherweight where she's her strongest, and she doesn't have to make that tough weight cut. But I give a lot of credit to Shanna Young for making it a tough fight, you know, coming in on short notice like that, you know, making it a good fight for her on last notice. You know, she just didn't come in there as a tune-up and lay down. She actually came in there, high altitude fight, like I said, and, you know, gave it her all for 3 rounds. But yeah, man, that's all I got on this one. Like I said, that's just my thoughts on the performance of Macy Chiasson. Like I said, I'm a fan of her, but you know, I'm more so a fan of her at featherweight where she can be more dominant, more strong, you know, with her size. But yeah, that's all I got on this one, guys. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Do you think she needs to be a featherweight? You know, Macy needs to be a featherweight or not? Or, you know, Shanna Young probably needs to move back down to flyweight. But let me know in the comment section, guys. Make sure y'all subscribe. Combo Breaker 99. I'm out. Peace.